land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place we ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize, Creole and Garifuna.
God, in His wisdom, has given us all information we need. God has given us all information we need. It is up to you and I now to be able to look through the words of God and to look at those things which God has given us in His Word to be able to make us live richer lives. The situation is that many times we want to do things our own way and we don't consider the things of God. And that's a cocktail for disaster. It's a cocktail for disaster. So we need to look at this. It says when you're going to choose a king or a leader, there's things here. And these things are for justice for the people. Justice for the people. Because first you look at the Judges, chapter 17 of the book of Deuteronomy, because He wants everybody to get a fair shake. And so God tells the leaders now what He expects from them. He expects them to be godly men. And we as the people know that as we go to the polls sometimes, we elect people based on everything else except that. Everything else except that. We look at President Bukele in El Salvador, and this morning I read a posting about how he dealt with the MS-13 gang in Salvador. He realized that it was spiritual. And so what he did is through prayers. He told his cabinet that they had to pray because it was something that is spiritual. The whole of that MS-13, they did not start out like that, but what they started to do was to do some very horrific crime, which was led by demonic forces. Many things in Belize, I think, it's the same thing. But you see, President Bukele, his influence, and I can recall seeing when they were swearing him in that he knelt down and the pastors were around him and they were praying for him. We are to pray. Every day I pray, I mention the Prime Minister, leader of the opposition, and the ministers. Because our political system is not based on love, it's based on hate. We start off bad when we do that because we're introducing something that is contrary to the Word of God. And here in chapter 17, starting from verse 14, it is written how these leaders are supposed to be chosen. It says, when you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, take possession of it, live in it, and say, I will set a king over me like all the nations around me. And this is what the people requested. They wanted a king like everybody else. They did not want to live in a theocracy where God was in charge. Today, as we live through these things in our lives, we see. Because sometimes even when people support these political parties, they are left heartbroken after they realize that all that was said was not said in a genuine way, but it was actually to just get in that seat. And the moment these folks get in that seat, they forget all the promises that they made the people. You are to appoint over you the king the Lord your God chooses. How many times before we go to the polls, or in all over the world when people go to the poll, do people pray about the choice that they're going to make? Instead of being influenced by the 50 and $100 that they're given there, they're more thinking about that money they're going to get more than praying and asking God to help them to make the right choice so that the best person may be chosen. That's what it says. The king should be one that God wants. Appoint a king from your brothers. You are not to set a foreigner over you, or one who is not of your people. Many countries learn this, and sometimes what the Americans are doing, you can't wrong them with that because that's what they're afraid of. That's what's going to happen eventually. They're going to be overrun by the amount of people, foreign people in their country, and so they're afraid to allow that to happen. They put it in their constitution as it is in ours. And so here Israel is being told, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't pick a king who is not of your brethren. The king should be of your brethren, among your brethren. However, he must not acquire many horses for himself or send the people back to Egypt to acquire many horses. For the Lord has told you, you are never to go back that way again. With these horses now, he become a power, you have a powerful army. And so what would he do? He would look at his army. That's what his father David did. He counted his fighting men. The general told him, don't do that. If I were you, I don't do that. He still did it. Why did he do that? He wanted to measure his own strength. When really his strength was in the Lord. When he is seated on his royal throne, he is to write a copy of the instruction for himself on a scroll in the presence of the Levitical priests. That is the one. What time in all my 56 years, I have never ever heard, especially today, that a leader's Christian background is a main criteria for selecting them to office. I hear people making noise about some leaders and some people in position. I was basically told, we can't use you in a chief engineer position. They will not be able to use you because you would not want to sign things that you're asked to sign. And so here we are now talking about things going on in beliefs that we don't like, we don't this, we don't that. Yet when men of God are brought to the forefront as the next person in line, they're overlooked. The only leader I know we had who was more into the things of God was the late George Price. That's the only leader we had who was into that kind of thing. If you go to church, one of our members of our church was one of his bodyguard. And he said that he would go to church every morning at 6 o'clock. He goes on further and said, then his heart will not be exalted above his countrymen. He will not turn from this command to the right or to the left. And he and his sons will continue reigning many years in Israel. You see, and we always say this, right? When you do things like, when you do bad things, think about the impact it has on your family. The Bible is saying there that men who lead and do what is right is like they're going to be passing the throne to their own children. When you do wrong, because what happened to Solomon, to Rehoboam, after Rehoboam, God said, no more, no. You guys are wicked and rotten. He said previously, Solomon had so much gold and silver that they made it common in Jerusalem. In other words, it was so plentiful. And when the people complained to Rehoboam, his son, about the way Solomon taxed them, Solomon was advised, Rehoboam was advised to tighten even more on the people. That's what he did. Josiah, young Josiah, when he got the copy of the scrolls, when they found it and they presented it to him, and he was shown that the people violated what was written, he rented his clothes and he said, we messed up. Go to the priest and ask, what can we do to fix this back? That's the spirit of a good leader. And he was a child king. He was a child king. He was very young when he became king. But he realized that honoring God was the best thing. You see, when you honor God, just like we learned when we did another devotion with Solomon, when God came and asked him, what is it you want? And his heart was for leading the people. God gave him that, and he gave him everything else he did not ask for. If God is leading, we can only go to a good place.
land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace.
Cyber Realty and Development is the leader in providing solutions to the current land crisis in Belize. For homeowners and investors alike, Cyber Realty is offering special deals on half-acre parcels in its new Emery Village development. Enjoy prime land off mile 37 on the George Price Highway at an unbeatable price. All you need is the initial down payment of $275 Belize dollars. Take advantage and reserve your half-acre home sites today. Emery Village. Join the community. Invest in your future.
Blessed Gardens is servicing home gardens across the country from the nation's capital and helping Belizeans reconnect with nature. We have everything you need for your home garden, so get growing. We have various types of soils: fortified soil, composted soil, potting soil, and pure compost for your garden. We have quality seeds and over 65 varieties of food seedlings for your garden. We even have organic insecticides available, EM soil treatment, and Polishade for your excessive sun or rain. Blessed Gardens has all your garden solution in one location. Call 610-5679. Visit us at the Bumapan Market Plaza or enjoy our free deliveries across the country. Blessed Gardens. Get growing, Belize.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize.
Yes, I am up. God is good. God is good, you see. Sometimes we frighten yourself. Jump up this morning and I see a man laying in my house, well dressed up in the glitter. I said, what? Immediately I started praying. I said, God, I rebuke this demon that want to destroy my life destroy all my plans for the rest of the week. But as I say, they say when two run, they reach quick. But when one run, they gone slow. Our in English proverbs, but I won't get it ready, but that to say yes. Welcome to Rise and Shine, Pastor.
Yeah. Good morning, Brother Sam.
Yeah, Pastor.
Pastor Shah. Good morning, Reg. Good morning, Belize.
Good morning, Belize and beyond. Truly, we have much to be thankful for. And wherever you may be listening from this morning, that lets me know that you are blessed, and I believe you have an appointment with your Creator today. I would suggest just say yes to Him. If you have that relationship with Him, you know that He will not ask you or suggest you to do anything outside of His will. So that's let me know we need to know, we collectively need to know His voice, that when He speaks, we will know that's Him, and when He speaks is for a reason, and we should just follow through and apply it. Someone may be nearest to negative eternity this morning. As early as this day is, many have left their home and they're not going to make it back tonight. It's sad to say. And when we speak about death, sometimes it's a morbid subject. However, it's a reality. And age has nothing to do with it. You can look at our society today. As small as Belize is per capita, I mean, we're losing people like crazy. What's going on? So this morning, we'll get into a subject here that I know many of you will be familiar with. And please, we ask you to call in. The number is on the screen, 822-2034. And after Pastor Sante gives his introduction, we will get into the topic of what we'll be speaking about this morning.
Hey, good morning, Pastor and Belize. And, you know, we are coming into a season where there's a lot of shifting taking place, and
Cabinet.
families right now are bracing for these shifts, because every year we have thousands of children moving from one season to the other. We have to be very conscious as parents, and when we talk about family on the show here, normally Wednesday morning, Pastor, you head up this show for Wednesday morning, focusing on family. We must understand seasons that we are going through. And we also, as family, as parents, have to be very conscious that we must be prepared and embrace for the next season of our children's lives. Because as we speak, there are graduations, commencement exercises taking place across this nation. And simply means your child are moving to another season of their lives. They may be 14 years, they may be 13 years, in cases they're 12 years. And we have to understand the next season of our children's lives, we got to do somewhat of a pre-preparation for that next season. If we just throw them into the next season, the streams could catch them and take them down paths that they will drown. They could die out there in those streams if they're not prepared. We got to at least have some, I would call it, some kind of little life vests, flotation devices, in order for them to be able to manage through this next stream that is coming in front of them. Because trust me, when you see a child move from primary school to first form, high school, which would be in the U.S. is from 8th grade to 9th grade, those ninth graders, so you call the one where they go in a ninth grade or 10th grade, Pastor?
Yeah,
Freshman?
Yes. Yes, freshman.
They move from primary school to high school. So when they go into the first form, there's a lot of pressure out there coming from every direction, especially when you talk about the third and the fourth farmers or the 11th and 12th graders. And this is reality. And so as families, sometimes it's important to take the time and somehow sit with your child and help them start navigating one time. How am I going to approach this new season of my life? Because indeed it is a new season. High school is a different ball game, different playing ground from primary school. And as we engage in these exercises, the commencement exercises, I think one of the things that we must emphasize a lot also is how we prepare these graduating classes to the next level.
You know, the last 2
Amen.
weeks were focusing on the transition, like Pastor Santa just said, from school life now into young adulthood, and that's so very important. But I believe this morning Holy Spirit allowed me to shift a little bit because you still need to speak on that. It's very important. You know, you have last week we hit a little bit on individual with physical, challenges that some of them may have, And with the summer coming up, you know, these parents had them in some institution, school or whatever. However, if that's not still ongoing, it'll take those parents now to figure out, how am I going to take care of this individual? You just can't leave them at home by themselves. Age doesn't have nothing to do with it, again, depending on where they are with autism or whatever the situation may be. But we will pick that up another session. But this morning I want to speak on domestic violence. It's getting out of hand. And when you look at what domestic violence is, it's a power grab. It's social injustice, especially when it comes to the gender inequality. And many times, if you do not understand it, you may say, oh, he's just sarcastic, or she's just funny, or whatever, but it's irritating that other person. I don't want to use the word partner, because we try to deal as much as possible in line with the principles of God's word in marriage, but we know common law is out there. We don't want to deny that. We want to suggest to you, do it right. In that common law situation, many times, if you are not legally married, it's easy for you to just get up and walk. But having that little piece of paper signed by someone in authority, and you have your witnesses with you, and if you did the ceremony, it would say before God and man. So you're making a declaration. But living together, oh, just let's try this out. You get tired, you walk. Kids are involved, you walk. And now you have to figure out where the kid's going to stay. Guess what? The law comes in now and tells you, you're going to pay so much, we're going to take these kids out your home, and your whole life is interrupted. I'm saying all of this to let us understand living together is not what it all cracks up to be. It's more than an ocean. And if we're not careful, where we are today is because of prior cultural issues that we just call it, this is the norm. And sometimes I know people live together 20, 30, 40 years without being married. But that's still not what God intended. If you really love that person, you'll put a ring on that person's finger until death do you part, with the right motive, with the right heart. Not if somebody else better come along, then I'll ditch you and go over there. And as I speak right now, it's happening. You have a wife, you have a partner, whatever you call it, and you're thinking right now, especially on the job, sometimes that's where this relationship starts. Start platonically, oh, we're just friends, but then you start going out to lunch and this and that in a group, and next thing you know, it's just the two of you. So these are things you need to set boundaries for. And this morning, when we talk about domestic abuse, we need to understand what it is. It's a power grab, especially in the male-dominated world that we have sometimes. Right now, it's not like that anymore. But back in the days, the women stayed at home, have kids, cook, clean the house, and that was it. But now you have educated women out there, powerful women. And sometimes the man is behind when it comes to education and things of that sort. So what that male will do is take his dominance, his manhood, and says, I'm the head of this house, and you know, the wife is actually paying most of the bills and carrying the whole family, but still he believes he has the right to say what goes on, what doesn't happen, and go from there. So that's what we want to focus on this morning. And please give us a call to let us know that it may be quiet in your area right now, but you can see the signs. And if you see the signs with that male dominance, you know, I'm the man, you do what I say, he come home, just sit down, where's my food, bring this, bring that, you know, and you just cater and you work too. These things need to stop, because abuse is not just hitting, not just words. It's a big, big subject. You know, even being, you know, treating your wife or your partner, whatever, as less than. You go out when you want to, but when she has to go out, she has to get permission from you. And if she gets to come home too late, what have you been doing out there? That's abuse. So you have domestic abuse when it comes to the children. They're abused too, the way we speak to them, the language we use in front of those kids. Sometimes the kids are there and you're speaking to each other, but the language, they're picking that up. And when they use it, we will slap them while you say, box them and say, you know enough to use that. Where did they learn it from? So these are the things we'll be speaking on this morning. We may not finish it up because it's a really, really large subject. And I know when I'll give you some statistic here in a few minutes. And this is for Belize now. This is not outside the country. Okay?
Yeah. Part of these are, we're, and I constantly listen to news that you find things happening, and if it seemed like we were excited to hear the bad news. We want to hear how much people get killed. We want to hear how much drug playing, you know, land. We want, and oh boy, that the good news. Almost it seems like our ear itches to hear the wrong or negative stuff. How about some really good news about agriculture, advancing in technology and so forth, and having entrepreneurs and having more individuals dealing in entrepreneurships, independent workers, and not people just working with government, but we find people and promoting these small businesses. And of course, as we promote these small businesses, also given the opportunity to our people that are starting in their small business to find their wings. Yes. You not try to clip their wings every time, because the honest truth is, even in this, government that right there like shark, they try to collect from these people that are trying making only 2 cents. They're not even got enough to build one nice house or have a nice vehicle, where with the done that they attack them, they try to collect revenue from them. Give the people one chance. Amen. Give the small business people, and you have the lead taco stand where they say, boy, you sell taco, that means you make money, make we collect for you. Come on, man. We not don't leave it too much, man. We encourage entrepreneurship. Yet, as we see somebody on the edge there, I will see one lead group of people, they buy taco for them. Why we don't want to collect for them? We don't want to collect for them. We don't collect for them. But I guarantee you, if we do the books properly and we dive into see how the Chinese, what kind of tax then they pay, I bet you then they get away with murder within taxes. And then they get exemptions and all kinds of things. And while we collect for them, one where they make the big money, the poor people where you see the tribe on the side of the street, they sell them lead taco, they sell them lead hamburger, they make them lead. Come on, not the rush like cat or they try grab for collect from them. Give them people only chance, man. Make them could make their life. They know they make nothing for talk about. Then they make only 2 cents for half of that they grab from them. across the board, all the way, municipalities, especially going to the municipalities, and boy, if you leave vendor, you sit there, then they collect. Give the people one chance to try and make some money first and see how then they do. When they start to do very well, then you could start to tax them and no kill them with tax either. Only one okra full basket, only one okra, something affordable, something we know they hurt, right? But we get that kind of thing out on the news so that we could see things where they happen. I would say, hey, you know what? Government, they give them exemption. All of these small entrepreneurships on the street sides and the municipalities and different vendors there, government, they give them exemption. Make them make something, make them do something. Make them could be able to put their children through high school. Listen, nowadays, Pastor, it's hard to send your picnic to high school. It costs one lot. And then if they graduate from high school and you want to help them if you go to college, if you go to the UB or go wherever, man, it's hard. So we have to, as a country, be able to come alongside these people and help them out. Pastor, you know, these are, you see where my brain, how I think, right? I know we try to talk about the family, but I believe when we talk family, every one of these people dealing with these entrepreneurships and stuff like this, and business, they are people that have family and trying to make a life. How we could help these people and how we could strengthen the family bonds and how we could see our young children move in the right direction instead of moving in a violent gangbanger lifestyle and just living a street life and hooked on substances. Because when you talk about domestic abuse, Pastor, if we stop and consider domestic abuse, mostly, and I say mostly because I believe it is so, the percentage where you find domestic abuse would be probably 95-98% coming from the male. The abuse will be coming more from the male, whether it's physical, verbal, you know, it's from the male.
You know, as I look at some of the statistics here, but do you have anything you want to jump in on this? Okay.
Excellent.
You know, I'll read out some statistics here, and this is Belize, okay? And the scripture is very open when it talks about domestic violence. But let me read out some statistics. Belize, with the police, from this, these are known, okay? This is not, there's more, but this is current data. It was just last year. Over 2,000 causes, over 2,000 cases annually. And as of late 2025, the data in Belize crime observatory highlight that young adults aged from 25 to 29 are the most vulnerable. And over 75% of report victims are females. Over 75%. Now we are not saying that males are not abused. Yeah. But when it comes to the female, 75%. Belize consistently register over 2,500 domestic and sexual violence related to report to the police over a 12-month period. High risk in Belize district and Kaya. Those are the high risk districts right now. Not that the rest of the district does not have violence, but their Belize district and Kaya district historically record the high number of complaints in the country. So the filing intent now, many file, but it doesn't go to court. Just to let, if something happened critically or demise, a demise take place, then it's on file. However, they will report it, but some of them won't follow through. Right. And so the guy or the gal, whatever, they just sit back and don't say, hey, they didn't file before, and they don't want to go to court. They don't want to go dragging out and all their business in the street, so they file, but then they back off from pursuing it. And this guy, especially on the male side right now, you think, hey, this is okay. So when we look at these statistics, and you can look it up for yourself, it's real. It's not something, a figment of our imagination that we're making up. So women men, we need to stop this. And many times these are partners. This is not really someone that's married because common law.
Yeah.
But it is happening in the regular traditional marriage also, but not to the point when it comes to just living together.
Yeah, happen in every direction.
Every direction.
And Pastor, you know, my thing is, how do we feed this thing? And are we living in denial as a nation, as a people? Are we living like the ostrich, we stuck with head under the sun? And because if we stop and seriously, consciously examine all of these things here, you know, we feed a lot of it ourselves. And as men, we are the one where they feed their thing. Listen, just recently, the other day, we had one of the things where everybody, well, not everybody, that's not true, that's no. There were negative lashback or backlash, whichever one you want to say. When we confronted and talked about the big poster right there by the stoplight with the female, and what is it saying to our nation? Whoever you may be, sir, mom, whatever you want to say, because we're the religious people, we're the pastors, not only religious people, pastors, we're being realistic. We're being very realistic. What are the messages we're sending to our nation, to our people, and to whoever are watching this big sign, this big billboard? As you drive the stoplight, so you have to wait. And you see one woman inappropriately dressed. And what did they advertise? One bear. Huh? What are we saying? Are we stupid or what? Or somebody think we are stupid? Or the pastors, then that how they go, then they. Listen, I don't want pastor, yes. But me no blind and me no stupid. If I say one certain picture that I like pornography, me no want to watch no pornography. I no want that. Now, I agree, you go to the beach and people they dress that in two-piece there. And hey, at least that the beach you go to the beach. You know how you have to go to the beach. But on a public billboard, right there, your traffic light, they advertise bear and one naked woman. And then we talk about domestic violence and where it come from. These are part of the feeding ingredients that we feed into these things. Plus, what are we saying about women? They're objects. Where is the respect for the mothers and the daughters and the wives that are upright women in our nation? They have to be subject to this abuse. I call it abuse. I mean, what else would I call it? Because you make women look like they're objects. They're not women to be respected and to love. Why we not say one picture from some Amish Mennonite lady by the billboard? Eh? Why we not say that? Why we not put up one Amish Mennonite lady with a billboard with a big veggie or a big cabbage or something in her hand? The whole, something positive, or one chicken in her hand. Whether farming, why we not see that? Or a bottle of milk. How we not have that for advertisement? What we have?
You know, if you look at society today, it's, like I said, I grew up here in Belize earlier, back in the day, so to speak. Things were much different. But now, and even then, they had the male entitlement going, okay? It's not something new. It's just more pronounced and out there in the public. Many societies are conditioned to believe that men must be strong and dominant and in charge. When a male feels like he is losing control, it can be due to stress, unemployment, relationship issues. He may use violence to maintain or regain his authority. Insecurity. And he has that authority, but it's the way it's used that causes it to be what we call now domestic violence. He's saying, I'm losing power. Yeah. She's bringing in more money. She has a vehicle. I have to use her vehicle. She has more education. I don't have that education. So to show his manhood, he used power. He used his physical strength, his words. to let her know, I'm still the man of this house, and if you get out of line, I'll put you back in line.
Yeah.
That's not right. And so when it comes to gender equality, it's sustained deeply by a rooted norm. It's becoming a norm right now for abuse, because that young lady or that wife may be so afraid of this man that she will do anything to keep it down. She don't want to lose him, and there are many reasons, we'll get into some of that, why these people still stay together. They have been beaten, they have been black and blue, and still they will cover it up. Sometimes it keeps them from going to work because they don't want that black, that bruise to be showing. Yeah, they don't want that to be shown. So they lose money, they lose time off from work. So when we look at all these things that happen, the women need to stand up, know their identity, and report this guy. And many times, well, if he leaves, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to get this done? What will happen to the kids? All of that is going through her mind because of a mother's heart. So we have to look at this from a totally different perspective.
Pastor, but while that's a case, because they say, well, he's not the one that the breadwinner. We have women where they make more money than their husband, and in cases we have women where the man they not even they blaming work, and they still they abuse them. The woman they work, they bring in the money, they bring in the bread, and the man sit down there, they do what? The gay is wrong, they on substance, and still want to abuse the lady, and she tolerates it as well.
So she's telling him, I give you the power to abuse me when she doesn't stand up. And some of them are smaller than the guy, and that's a fear factor also. I have this kid with this guy, they even say my partner now. They says my daddy baby. Something to that effect.
My baby daddy.
Yeah, my baby daddy, It's hard to say wife or my husband now. It's difficult because they have to use partner, my partner. So the moment I hear that word, I know they're not married, they're living together, and they can get up and walk anytime because there's nothing say I have to be here with you.
No commitment.
I'm old enough now to know that guys, and this is another thing, I see a lot of girls, they tattoo the name of that guy, and the guy does it too. In the open. So when they split up, guess what? They go with someone else that's not her or his name in the open now. It's tattooed on them, and it's like, I love you till the end of, but it wasn't for this guy.
Stuck with it.
It's someone else. We have to look at all this thing, and they think if I put their names where it can be seen, this guy or this gal, they won't leave me because it's public. But it doesn't work that way anymore. So when you go with someone else, you have Susie on there. Now you have Jennifer. Who is Susie? A conversation starts. Now the line starts, the deception starts, and even when you're in that second or third relationship, those names is still going to be visible that someone can see. So guys, we're not trying to run your life. Please. I know I have enough challenges running my own life, much less trying to figure you out. But I care enough, I have a passion enough to let you know you are valuable, male or female. You're God's masterpiece. You are here for such a time as this to make a difference in society. So when we would say, use the cliche or statement that says society is messed up. We are a part of the society. Society is not just a nebulous word.
Made up of.
It's people. So I am in that group of humanoids, of a person. So what I'm doing right now is either helping or not helping society. And I really do want to see things change, but each individual need to take that responsibility and understand the cause of why this gender equality is still in vogue today. When you go back to Bible times, well, you would say, well, the women weren't smart, they weren't taught, they weren't educated. That's not happening now.
But that's not even true, though.
Well, back, they were sitting on each side.
To some degree, yes.
To some degree.
But even right now, Pastor, in this world today, what we call the modern age, my gosh, you have Afghanistan where the woman, they're not allowed to study, to be educated. So if you notice the trend, we swing one direction or the other. So when we talk about the gender equality, you have to look at this whole thing and then you stop and go and you listen out there, and what you have? we talk about gender equality, yet there was a period of time, I don't hear it as much anymore, but there was a period of time where you hear, whatever man could do, woman could do better.
Yes.
And then we talk about gender equality. No, that's not no, man. We have our place, male and female. God created Adam, and based on Bible, this is where we get all our information from. This is where, today in the world, we have a leadership, male leadership, that is vibrant. And a husband is always valued in a house for the most part, and a wife always lean heavy on her husband. Pastor, you ever see one man and a wife arm like this, where the wife, they hug up the husband? You will find, watch the trend, that most of the time where you want to see, even if the husband short on the wife by 9 inches, the wife still find a place under the husband arm. Not the husband under the wife arm. That's how God created us. So that's not a big thing. When God created Eve, he says he make one helpmeet for Adam. One helper for Adam. Not one slave, not one baby machine, one helper. So there's a teamwork that they work together, the husband and the wife, and respecting each other. Let's not have a marriage that works, that is working, and thank God, I believe it's working pretty good. Perfect? No, absolutely not. No, I went to a pastor's conference, a marriage conference one time, and the guy says, oh, me and my wife, we never fight. I put up my hand and I holler hard, me and my wife fight every day. And I say it hard. No, me and my wife don't necessarily fight every day, Make I tell you what I was trying to get across. Not tell me you and your wife never fight. You never have one dispute or a disagreement. I know they talk about fist fighting and cuss out one another. No. I'm talking about having disagreements. Sure, me and my wife have disagreements all the time. Yeah, all the time. We have 2 different personalities, and she have her own view, I have my own view on things. And we agree to disagree. We will not agree on this issue here because this is my opinion on this, and this is my opinion. No, we deal facts, we deal Bible, and we have that lined up. However, we don't allow our disagreement to cause us to be divided. We are in love. I love my wife. I think my wife loves me most of the time, right? And I even like my wife sometimes, right? We have fun, we laugh, this is because you're supposed to. This way, that's why you have a wife, a husband. You could enjoy the company of each other and how you do things. You raise a family and everything, and watch your children blossom. We called my grandson this morning, me and my wife together. I wish her a happy birthday. Of course, thank God for technology. I wish her together and yeah. That's our grandchild, and we enjoy our families. That's the structure. That's how it's supposed to be. We do have disagreements, but we don't allow them to drive a wedge between us or cause us to have this big blow. It's called discipline, balance, respect, love.
Family, we want to say this morning unequivocally that let this subject that we're speaking on this morning, it should not be a norm. Well, all men cheat. Women going to cheat too, so we learn how to live with it. No, when you come together in a husband and wife relationship, you become exclusive now to that individual that you have chosen, especially from the male perspective. I choose this woman to be my wife until death do us part, or the green grass over our grave. We hardly have green grass anymore. It's a concrete situation right
white
now.
cement.
Yes, but that should be the mentality. And if an individual, not if, it's when someone approach you to distract you from that commitment you made, run. Keep blinders on. You have to look your wife in the face when you get home, or vice versa. God, there's some women that cheat also. I don't want to just put it on the men, and sometimes they're okay with it. They say, You do your thing, I do my thing. But yet you have the same last name. That's not the way God designed it. Why am I saying this? Because children are involved. Even if you don't have your own children or child, they are still looking at you from another perspective. You can be an aunt, uncle, this, that, whatever. You have kids around. And when they see you loving on your wife appropriately in public, you are also teaching them. It's a learned behavior. When a teenager will go there and get a young lady pregnant, they'll bring him to mama's house and, oh, no problem, stay here. They're still paying the bill, you know, but yet grandma already raised him or her. Yeah. Now she's raising another generation because this guy or gal is not mature enough to take care of their own the situation that they're in right now. So we have to look at it. When they come home, they're not there anymore. They have their own kid, but they still live in there. They open that fridge and expect to see something in there. Mom, you grown. You should be putting something in that fridge. It's not like when you were young and in the home, you go there and you expect to find something and you expect it to be there. But now that you're grown and you think you're man enough to go there and have a child, you should have your own fridge, your own house, your own whatever to be self-sufficient, to take care of your responsibility. Why bring those kids back home and grandma have to raise them now? Or your mom has to raise them, or vice versa. It's not right. They have lived their life, sacrificed for us. We talked earlier about how expensive it is to put someone through school. They sacrifice. Sometimes they're working and doing stuff on the side to make that extra money to make sure you have your uniform, fees is paid, transportation, all of this, and you're going to get to the point where you're going to go out there, just have a kid, and then bring it back home, and mom still say, Mom, I love you. Something is wrong with that picture.
And parents allow that. We have to take a break.
They allow it.
But Brother Fem, we're taking a little break. But we have to continue on this discussion, and also we probably when we come back, we want to talk a little on how we could do mitigation for where we're at today with the family, with the children, because we have a lot of children today that are men. We have too much dysfunctionalities in families, and we're not digging into the root problem. We don't want to put band-aid on a laceration. No. We need to find some serious suturing and how we could do some mitigation on this, because and we got to do it together. We can't one person. We can't blame government. We can't blame the police. We can't blame the church. We can't. No, we got to look at it together. Stop criticize one another, and let's see how we could do it together. Brother Fem, you want to take way out on the break?
Well, God is good. Keep it locked on the rock.
We'll be right back.
Land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize. Land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love it, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys.
Cyber Realty and Development is the leader in providing solutions to the current land crisis in Belize. For homeowners and investors alike, Cyber Realty is offering special deals on half-acre parcels in its new Emery Village development. Enjoy prime land off mile 37 on the George Price Highway at an unbeatable price. All you need is the initial down payment of $275 Belize dollars. Take advantage and reserve your half-acre home sites today. Emery Village. Join the community. Invest in your future.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad in the month of June. Visit a Benny's near you and get store-wide discounts on selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie Power Tools, Charbroil Barbecue Grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Benny's, oh, Benny's.
The biggest tournament requires the ultimate streaming experience with NextGen TV. Win with NextGen. Pay your bill or sign up for a NextGen bundle plan for a chance to win a 43, 55, or up to 65-inch smart TV bundle, a brand new soundbar, and many more prizes. Get ready to witness football history being made with NextGen. Not a NextGen TV subscriber yet? Contact us to subscribe today. NextGen TV, your stadium at home.
I'm feeling so happy for getting this house, as I've lived in this house, in the next house for many years. So I'm appreciative to Mr. Musa for letting me get it.
They started to talk about how they help out people with house and things, and variety, and in a couple weeks time, the young lady come and say, "Oh no, I get on a house." Well, we feel so happy because we actually need it, because the household may have many leak, and like Mr. Karim get a message and he heard the cry and he said, "Well, building people house."
I was speaking with her son this morning, and it's been 40 years coming, and to have this moment finally arrive, it's not just a relief for Miss Peters and her husband, but also for her children who want their mother to be in a safe home, a secured home. And today I am extremely proud. This is one of those rewarding moments as an area representative, because the government has such a successful, impactful housing program that's affecting lives all across this country. And today we are just extremely happy and proud to deliver this home to a very deserving mother, Miss Peters.
Some hands do more than carry. They prepare, they fix, they comfort. They keep a home moving in ways few people notice. And even when the day is done, they are still thinking of home. For the months of May and June, we celebrate the hands that hold the home together, offering you 25% off on tiles, lights, fans, ACs, gardening supplies, and more, both in-store and online. Thank you, moms and dads, from Builders Hardware.
we're here shopping at B-Mart. Today we're making the green super smoothie. Let's get after it.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna.
Thank you for not changing the channel. Some of you may be new to this segment. However, the number is on the screen. Please give us a call at 822-2031. We would love to hear your perspective. And because in every situation, domestic abuse, again, is not just the hitting and the verbal. There's so many of the psychological abuse. We call it gaslighting. You make that person, male or female, believe something is wrong with you. Go get checked out. And nothing may be wrong with you, but because of the norm, we think this is normal, this is the way of life. No, it's not. God did not make male or female to be somebody else's doormat or punching bag. No. Every person, save or not, they're God's creation. And I believe he takes it personal when we abuse each other. And again, abuse is a broad subject. So we're just covering it broad this morning, domestic abuse, but you can get specific with mental abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. There's so many, abuse that you can come up with. Abnormal use, that's a real word. We took two words and we combined them and just say abuse. But if you look at it carefully, it's abnormal use. Everything God made, he made it good. However, we have perverted it and abnormally use it. Females were not created or made to make money. Most advertisement, it has a sexual grab to it. The clothes, the makeup, and you see it's a 30-second slot. But it takes hours sometimes to get that paint and that light and everything just right. But when it's all said and done and that paint and the makeup and everything is taken off, they're just like you. So remember that. Do not try to live a Hollywood life. It's not real. Some of those guys spend millions. Let's say 20 million for some, that's pocket change, for their wedding. And in 6 months, what happened? They separate 2 months later with someone else, still in that high-class profile. Something is wrong. The old song says, looking for love in all the wrong places. Only God's love is solid and everlasting. There's a scripture in Proverbs. I want to read it right here. Proverbs 29. And there's some in the New Testament too. They can look at Romans chapter 12, 19, and Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 1. But I'll just read Proverbs right now, 11:29. And it says, he that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind, and the fool shall be the servant to the wise of heart. So we're either in one of these descriptive terms. You can be wise in your heart, or you can be a fool. That's not my words. Read the book. God's look on the heart. So you can be doing all the right things physically, but your heart is someplace else. So that if something comes down the pike, that wife or that husband said, no, you're not talking about her or him. I've been with this person long enough to know that they wouldn't do such a thing, and come to find out sometimes you're spot on. But then again, they have been living a double life, especially those that travel outside of your environment, their little domain or district. In the United States, it's different. Sometimes the work would take them overseas. I remember one time this wife brought me a stack of paper about an inch thick. She documented everything this guy was doing, expecting me to read that and straighten him out. I can't fix nobody. So I just put that on the shelf, so to speak, because it was a character issue. She had people following him sometime. Then he would come home like nothing, but then she would find a card for some bar, club in his pocket. That started another fight. And one Christmas, and this is a true story, he bought her a Jag, brand spanking new. They had a 4,000 square foot home, beautiful place. And she sat there and she said, that was in December, February of the next year, we were in counseling again, working with each other, and she said she took a duffel bag, the duffel bag is nothing big, and walked away from all that stuff. The stuff was not what made her happy, was not fulfilling to her. It was his loyalty and being honest, telling her the truth. And when she could verify it, that he was lying to her, she picked up a duffel bag, as much as she can get in there, and the 4,000 square foot home, the Jaguar and everything, and she walked away from it. Now, some will stay just for that and continue with the abuse. She said no. Why did I tell you that story? Because sometimes you have to make a decision, intentional, that says, I can't live like this anymore. Yes, externally people look at me and says, wow, I wish I was in her shoe. No, you won't. Don't wish that, because you don't know what they're going through. And many people didn't know because it was hidden with all the stuff and the fineries of life. Man, I wish I had half of that. No, you don't. Be content with what you have and work together to make your relationship the best that you can be who God intended for you to be. So things are okay. It's neither either or. It can be both and. If your heart is right first with God, and then you will learn how to love each other in a genuine way. And if a situation comes up, civilly talk about it. If you need to, get someone to help you, because you have invested in this relationship. Sometimes you have 5, 10 years in, and you're going to just throw that away and go find somebody else, try to retrain them and make them do what you want to do. That power struggle will start all over again, because you're taking the baggage from one relationship into the next relationship. It has not been dealt with, and guess what's going to happen? And statistics show that the second marriage, about 70%, the third, 50%, the fourth, 10% will actually stay together, because it gets worse. You're taking this baggage with you, this load, this catharsis, pent-up emotion into the next situation. And eventually, the real girl or guy is going to show up.
There is no perfect couple, Pastor. We're individuals. God created us this way. Male and female. We have different fingerprints. We are unique, every one of us in our own way. You know, we are not carbon copies. We are originals. Every single one of us. We're originals. You might look identical, but we have the identical twins.
Yeah.
Even with the identical twins.
They have a mind of their own.
Right?
Yep.
Yes, yes. You have them look alike, but they would be different in personalities. They have different thumbprints. Yeah. Right? And God created us like this. And you don't have to be pressured to be like anybody or everybody else. And what happened with us a lot of time is that we try to be like everybody else. We try to, oh, I see you have one nice car, I want to have one like you. I see you have your house painted certain, I want the mines like you. Or I want to do it better than you. And there's a competition among ourselves. And when it comes to life, and in cases you find that the parent compete for the love of the child, and the child finds out that parent, they try play upon emotions, and so the child play the parent, right? Wherein, when you balance the love for your child, both parents, that child understands, listen, my parents, they love me, my mom loves me, my dad loves me, they don't want to play a game with me. If I step out of line with my mom, I can't run down my dad, and if I step out of line with my dad, I can't run down my mom. They want to deal with me, which that's the way it's supposed to be. Balance. Have a good, healthy balance. And treat each others with the ultimate respect and love, because love will, how you hurt somebody that you love. And always go back to your drawing board. What brought you together in the first place? You see that guy out there and you like the guy. Now, one, I think we catch we a lot of times, no? The obsession. We get to obsess with a person. That you love the man so much, you know, okay, wait, do what he say, I just as long as I get the man. Or you see some of your friend or somebody where you don't like too much the heart of this man, well, I want to get her more before she. And whatever I need to do, I want to make sure I secure him, and she don't want to get her. And where they fight for, where you want to get so much, I don't realize that pies, they look for drink right there. That who you egg, they pick up that trouble, to put down. For what? Because you want to spite your friend or your neighbor where you don't like, or your rival, and you want to be competitive with she, and you get one jerk the way you're really sorry you get. For what? No, man. Make she have her. No play competition with nobody. You don't have to compete for a man or for a woman. You want, okay, fine, go there strong. Go there strong. Be wise how we select. And respecting women is something, for me, is paramount in life, that we need to respect women. We don't want abuse them. And you know, in my opinion, and as I still life then, and I could see the realities of what happened. When we abuse women, I want to say, and I am firm and I stand on this, say what you want and what you think. But why we want to have a naked woman, or almost naked, with a beer in their hand they advertise? Why? What are the heart behind it? Where they think about? What are you, whoever you are, and I don't care who, whether the prime minister or whether the priest, what you to think about why you want advertise one beer or one rum beside one almost naked woman? What is the message? What are those messages we are trying to send or trying to get across to the public, to everybody who says that? What is the message? The woman, the one object? And woman, the one thing? What is it? And then we say, oh, we got so much abuse. And ladies, listen to me. You see where they got it? The rum with a half-naked woman. The who that for? We operate with our eyes. Men operate by what we see. So with the lust after this half-naked woman. And when you start to drink, boy, then girl, they only get pretty. I remember one time, Pastor, we gone way back in the day. Me and some of my buddies there, they had one of them place used to name Raoul Rose Garden up on close to the airport road there. So, and back then we had a lot of the British soldiers them, and we end up that one of them place there. Hey, help yourself. Treat upon me with the guy, the British guy. Treat us on me, and the lot of woman there, boy. Good-looking woman, of course, good-looking woman. And I look at that guy, whoa, boy, that guy, they rush that girl. And I go, wow, check this out. Check this out right here. Why will I be rushing at a woman? And the man gonna end up with one because he don't have a little bit too much to drink. After that, the man wants to see that woman again, none at all. When they go back there, he hide from she, you know what I'm saying? Because somehow alcohol have a way to make you start to get blind and everybody look pretty for you until tomorrow when you wake up and your eye clear and say, oh my, what have I done? That's the picture. Then they link that and which part they find that. Then go in that one of them joints, one of them discotheque, one of them late hour place. Why you think that they have extension? Most of the time when you have them wee hours of the night, morning, 2 o'clock the morning, extension on their license or whatever. They're no wife and husband, you will find it hardly, you know. Hardly, I says, because you may find some there, you may find some. They're no wife and husband. The man they out yonder while your wife in a bed with your picnic there and you there wrong yonder. That's the wedding advertisement they tell we, Miss Ladies. Tell them, take it down, you don't know an object. That whoever responsible, God, them more likely to pay money, you know, Pastor. For a few dollars, we are sell with birthright, man. Now who did do that? Who is responsible? Which one of we leaders them? We have women, we have we area representative, and whoever else who have to take care of them business there. Tell them why they do that. Because, my opinion, those are some talk about abuse. That's abusing a woman.
And so for those that are listening this morning, we don't want to just tell you what's happening. Most of us know what's happening.
We deceive.
But there is help here in Belize. In all the districts, there is help. We have this device called this phone. Everything is on there. Google these things, because even in Belize, you have the Organization of National Women's Commission emphasizes that the gender-based violence is largely an issue of male dominance. Male dominance. In other words, I'm a man. You shouldn't tell me what to do. I rule. I reign. God did not. Let's go back to scripture. He gave both male and female dominion over everything but each other. So how did we come up with this dominating spirit that the male is over the female and tell her what to do? In other words, I own you. That's not the Bible. You have dominion over the fish, the birds, and everything else, but not over your wife or your husband. So when you start to tell them what is right and what is wrong, and they can read, they're cognizant enough to comprehend a statement and words, God spoke directly to the male. Husbands, ... Wives, ... So he spoke directly to me, directly to her. And if she can read, I shouldn't have to tell her what is written.
That's right.
She can read it for herself, because that's fight talk. Do you know the Bible say? I know what the Bible says, well, and we start a fight.
Pastor, I know one guy one time with a very strong Christian man, where we have, we had to speak, sit down and talk with him. We had some problems there, how that go in church, right? I said, bro, where the Bible says. I don't care where the Bible says. Straight up, I talk about one fairly strong Christian believer. I don't care what the Bible says. There are people today that they don't care what the Bible says. No. That's the heart of man. Yet the Bible is the constitution of human being, of humanity. The most worldwide read, sold book. Yet you don't care what he said. But yet you say you believe in God. Again, you believe in God. The Bible says in James, you believe in God. They say you do well. The devil believe also and tremble. Right? So believing in God, don't make you saved. That no me said that. I know write the book. Check it for yourself. Check it for yourself. The devil believe and tremble. That's what the Bible said. So you could believe in God like the devil believe also. But if you don't adhere to what God says, or at least make every effort. And I know they talk about your opinion. Well, my opinion, because I'll in church this and that church that, and the next church the other, and the other church there. And trust me, one lot of them there. Maybe too much. And all different doctrinal differences and all different beliefs. And let's go to the common denominator when we talk church and when we talk Bible. Don't go and don't miss the train. Jesus Christ was born of a virgin. We celebrate Christmas. So the birth of the Christ, the death and the resurrection of the Christ. We call it Easter. Those are the foundational stone, the pillars that Christianity is built upon. Whether you're the Roman Catholic or whether you're a Pentecostal or whether you're the one, whoever. Jesus Christ, his birth, his death, and his resurrection. Those are pillars for us to build on. And the rest are all individual doctrinal differences. Let's go to the source. And when we do this, we will really take a different turn in life. Our lives will be different.
I want to really say to those organizations out there, I want to big you up and really encourage you to keep on doing what you do. It's more than a notion running these organizations. You have the National Women Commission. You have crisis intervention. All these individuals, these places out there that you can go and Google, they're there to help you because they understand the human frailty. They want to help. And sometimes we take them for granted. They want to help, but until you seek that help out, they cannot do anything for you until you say, I need help, whatever it takes. If I get disowned from my husband, kids, society, whatever, I want to make sure that I am healthy enough to help someone else. So I'm not sitting here this morning, we're not sitting here this morning and naive to think that we have all the answers. No, we don't. That's why we're giving you the information or the tools. Get in your phone and make a call to these places. They may not be all so-called religious, but they have the intent, they have the tools, they have the history, they have the statistics. Once you tell them what's going on, they will dig into their toolbox, so to speak, and assist you. So you have the crisis intervention, and that's in Belize. You have the police department. Again, they're going through challenges themselves. So I'm not naive to let you know, hey, you call the police. They have domestic challenges themselves, okay? And maybe you can help them to say, you know, this is what I'm going through, and maybe something you have gone through or is going through may help them get their act together. They can be charged just like anybody else. That uniform does not give them moral fortitude. They have challenges too. But these individuals, and I know it's not older people, there are some young females out there right now fighting. We had one on there just last week. Mrs. Petch. They're out there trying their best, not trying, but doing something to change society. So it's not male, female, it's a group of people that has a passion to see you live a healthy life. Yes, God must be first. However, he uses people, he uses the church, he uses community, he uses some of these individuals we mentioned, these local resources that we have right here in Belmopan, right down the street. There are people that's willing to help, but until you make that call, this is why Matthew 11 says, come unto me. He has a RSVP out, a seat for you, but until you heed to that call. Matthew 11:28 says, come unto me, all of you, including myself, that's laboring and heavy laden. He said, when you come, I'll give you rest. But then he also said, take, sit a while, learn of me, for I am meek and lowly, and you will find rest. But you will not find rest until you make up your mind, I need help. He's not going to force you. As powerful as he is, there's certain things God will not do. He has already done it. And when Jesus said it was finished, all the sacrifice and the blood and the this and the killing and the altars and the fire, those days are gone. Now he said, you come boldly to the throne of grace and you will find. But if you don't come, you won't find. You're expecting, oh, I'll do this, I'll cook, I'll da-da-da-da-da, and he's going to change or she's going to change. Phooey. That's a Band-Aid. And it's temporary. Till he get into or she get into one of those mood again and get you a little toddy, and the next thing you know, off to the races again, because that person, male or female, may be under stress from the day's work and come home and take it out on you. That's called projection. Think about it. So you have the local resources here, right here in Belize. Ask someone, even your law enforcement. They're in the know of certain things that the public don't. They may be able to tell you, why don't you call this number? And I'm not going to give a number out there. I want you to do the homework if you really need help. And females, please see value in yourself. Well, I don't have an education. I didn't finish high school. It doesn't matter. God can take a babe and give you that information you need. God is speaking right now.
Yeah.
He uses people to get to you what you need. He's not going to come back on this earth and walk it physically like he did thousands of years ago. Now he says, he's the head, we're the body. So he sent his body into the communities. If you want to see a community change, look in the mirror. Let's start with that person, the reflection of that person you see. And I can almost, not almost, if you do it God's way, his word is fixed. When we are unfaithful, he remains faithful. So all of this that we're saying this morning, remember, you are not entitled to nothing. When your kids are grown and gone, they owe you zero, nothing. Yeah, well, I raised them and you are now the extended family, especially when they leave home and they get married. Yeah, you're still mom and dad, but you're extended. Now they have their family, because the word says, scripture says, you leave and you cleave.
That's right.
Not that mom and dad is out of sight, out of mind. That's not what it's saying. You still help them, but it should be a unified. You come together and says, let's do this for mom, let's do this for dad. But the wife, he can't say, well, that's my mom, that's my dad, I'll take this money. No. You better check with each other.
Yeah.
And do something
Sure.
for them.
You know, in life, and when we speak from this platform, and we talk about family issues, we talk about focusing on the family. Of course, naturally, we take from a Bible perspective, biblical perspective, because this is the book that we are acquainted with, where life, everything comes from. Everything flows. If you notice, pretty much just about every country in the world have laws that says if you kill, you commit murder, then you're charged in the court of laws, right? Every nation in planet Earth, you're charged with murder, and there's penalties to pay in cases you murder somebody. Then you're simply just, your life is taken. Somebody say, well, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, law that doesn't exist anymore. Well, even worse now, though. They say, well, that's the Old Testament. What did the New Testament say? Well, New Testament say, if you hate a brother without a cause, you don't commit murder. So that's what Jesus says, right? So we're living consciously as to everybody right now, as you say, and I say everybody because everywhere you turn is a national issue where crimes are concerned. People are stealing, and in cases we say, well, poverty, that because of poverty, that because of no job, that also is not completely right or true. I remember I committed, me and a couple of my other relatives committed a crime. And it wasn't because of poverty or because we never have a job. I had a job. My cousin had a job, and good job. My brother had a job. All four of us that committed the crime, we had jobs. We were getting an income. We had a house that we were living in. We were not hungry for sure. You know what we want? We made the thing about the people that we got a lot of money, make we share the money with them. We're not thinking about keep working and building yourself. I was 16 years old then, of course. And I was 15. You see, minors. Influenced by older people, by older ones. But we want quick money. Guess what? We did pull off a robbery. We did get money. But what we do with the money, you think? What do you think we do with the money? We're going to blow it out, party and rent cars and do all kinds of things with them monies. And we'll live it up for a week, 2 weeks. We're going to do it. Of course, when you think you're going to get away, the ladder right behind you. So sure, I was arrested too. I was locked up too. Right? Thank God because of being a minor, I got out of it. But not everybody got out of it. The rest paid the price because you always think you want to get away. Right? But it wasn't because we never had jobs or had money. We just wanted more money and greedy for somebody else's money. Quick money because we want blaz. So in a lot of cases, that's not because people don't have jobs or poverty or whatever. It's simply because of greed for somebody else's money, lusting for somebody else's money, instead of keep working to build yourself on your own merit. We lack these things. And we need to start looking at how we could bring about changes in our country. While the domestic abuse are there, very present and everything, what are the root causes of it? Simply, there are people that are hurting already, men that are hurting. So hurt people hurt people. Then we have the children them that are abandoned. So all the murders and the gangs and people are recruiting these young people getting into gangs. Well, where is the fathers and the mothers? Where are the home? Where are the structures that keep young men together, that keep young men off the street from getting in gangs and everything? Where is it? Fathers are responsible. No, there are some very good mothers, and God bless these good mothers and Kudos to you. Hats off, good mothers that keeps diligently working with your child. It's a very hard thing, though. It never was intended for it to be single mothers raising children. A young man need a father. Only a father could be a father to teach his son, not mother. Mother could be the best mother in the world, but that's the best she could be, is a mother. You can't be a mother or a father. You could be a mother. The best mother in the world, not a father. Only a father could be a father. And we're lacking this. And we must combat that. The Bible says in Malachi, Pastor, in Malachi, God will restore the hearts of the fathers to the sons. The hearts of the fathers to the sons. Where fathers, man out, they don't want to beat their chest. But I mean, man, I got 7 sons. You not raised none of them. You weren't responsible for them. You weren't there for them. Shut your mouth. How you going to beat your chest? But I got 7 sons. You don't raise none of them. That's why they contribute to the streets, to the street life. So when you plan to have a child, and I say plan, no accident, child no happen unless they rape, you contribute one life to the development of this nation. What kind of child you want to contribute? What will a child be? Will he be a positive influence? Will he be a positive contributor to society, to community, to the town and cities and the nation, building our nation? Or will he or she just be another number that are committed to crimes and violence? We must change this nation one by one by one, and it starts with me. I must do my part. You must do your part. Not the government, not the police department, not the educational institution. All of us must come together, stop pointing fingers, stop playing the blame game, and start working on our families, building strong families, working not with your hitch-up partner, committed to a woman, to a man in love, and build these families. If you want to pick me, be deliberate. Be deliberate, or else take protection, maximum protection. If you don't bring no pick me into the world where you just want left abandoned and want to contribute to. That like dog with rabies running around in the streets. Where you do that? One spell with the poison, Pastor. You find dead dog all over the place. The Philippine president one spell become radical. And when he get in, he start to kill up people, and they find people dead, like the guy say, they find criminals and gangs and drug people, they start to kill them. What's the name of this Philippine president? He was a radical guy. Duterte. Duterte was killing people. United Nations gone off from President Obama, gone off on him, and he goes out Obama. Right? He said, this is how I will treat them, because we have to clean up the Philippines. They know they're going to kill and murderers and gangs and all kind of thing. You see what Bukele do? I know they say we have to do what Bukele do, but maybe we got to look at what he did, and we got to start tightening up. I know human rights, they can't tell we how to run the home. We got to do a thing.
Yeah, so as we're coming to a close this morning, this segment, again, we want to reiterate that domestic violence is a complex issue. It's not a one thing you can say. We mentioned quite a few things this morning. It could be economical, it could be culture, it could be learned behavior, it could be tradition, it could be a whole lot of things. So it's a very complex issue. So no one single cause domestic violence. It's the way you were probably brought up. Who knows? Yeah, it could be a part of it. The people you hang out with now, you know, if you didn't have a good teenage years, you got engaged or, you know, start having kids early, you missed out on those teenage years. You don't know what it's like. And sometimes your friends, they're going to start talking and, man, we had fun and da-da-da-da-da. And they're still doing it now as an adult. So you figure, no, I want to regress and try to pick up where I left off. That's a misnomer. It's not going to happen. You have to deal with where you are today. So again, resources are out there for male and female. Yes, I'm ashamed. I don't want. Your life is worth more than that. Get out of that P-ride, which is pride, and say, I need help. Whether If you're married and the wife don't want to go, or vice versa, many times it's the wife drawing or dragging the guy into counseling because I don't want nobody to think I'm wimpy.
Yeah.
Let's get out of that male dominant mindset. Learn how to work with each other, love each other, not with other types of love, but the agape kind of love that never fails. 1 Corinthians says there are three things: faith, hope, and love.
Greatest.
But the greatest of these is the agape love of God. Because what? God is love. So when you put those two together, the love and God, it's one. And he loved us so much, he loved you so much that he gave his prized possession for me and for you. And still we are rejecting the best thing that God has for us. We refuse. And so the old saying says, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a positive result, you need to see
seek psychiatric counseling.
Big time. So close us out for this session. And next week, God's willing, we'll be back here again. We don't know what the subject is. I have so many things on the table, but I want to minister to you where you are. So when God give me a subject or a topic, that's what he wants, not what I have put together. That's not the issue. What he wants you to hear, because he knows what you need to hear, and he uses people. So thank you so much for listening this morning.
Thank you, Pastor Sean. I really appreciate sitting with you here as much as possible, Wednesdays after Wednesdays, and just addressing the nation, and not just the nation, but people over the globe, wherever internet reaches, and hearing our message and what we're dealing with as a nation. You might be dealing with different things. However, there is a common way of dealing with things. I believe family issues are family issues that we could deal with. One certain simple way is loving and respecting and honoring. In closing, let me express my own disappointments in our recent situation with the arrest of Mr. August. Alberto August was arrested. In my opinion, it was unjustly. I don't think it is even opinion. It is obvious. That was wrong. That was malicious. It was very wrong. That never should have happened, not in a democratic country. We have the freedom of speech and expressions, and we put laws to keep the mouths of the people shut. So now even pastors, because then they call we haters when we speak out truth from the word of God, where God commanded us. We got to be careful because it becomes hate speeches. That was very wrong, and in my opinion, and based on the actions, and these actions speak louder than words, the police went and arrested this man, locked him up for so long, overnight in a cell. Come on, where's human rights? Where's all our rest of the people them accusing this man of what? Cyber. No, remember, the arrest, and I think it was charged yesterday. It was cyber crime, right? What was the crime again? There was some negative said against the minister, right? Mr. Mira. Man, the people I know very well, personally. Bro, this is not right. No, who gave the orders for the police to go and arrest this man? I don't know for a fact. I don't know. I know who's the head of the police department. We all know as a nation. But I don't know if he gave the orders or not. But whoever did that, why didn't you use that same authority and diligence and zeal against cybercrime to arrest the next person? And I think it may have been the brother that said, if I meet the man, I want to take one charge for her. I am no scholar. However, my interpretation of that, that's a violent verbal thing right there, expression. He was saying something with malice that if I meet him, I want to take one charge. What kind of charge? Murder charge? Assault? What kind of assault? Physical assault? What kind of assault? What kind of charge you want to take? It could be anything. But if it was a charge, it simply means it would have been a violent act. Because you will be charged for violent act, not necessarily verbal. And even if it's verbal, why weren't he also dragged in? Because if you see what Mr. Arthur said, and you see what he said, who sounds more violent, who sounds more like something to be arrested for? That is my take on this whole issue. That is what I call justice. The same knife Creole say, where stick goat, stick hog. Why it never gone the same way? Or at least, what's happening? I'm waiting to hear what will happen there. Because if they even think of trying to bring Mr. August to court, will we see the next person brought to court also, or arrested, or sleep overnight in prison, in jail, in a cell block? Come on, let's be just. Let's be just. And I do salute the Prime Minister, if it was the Prime Minister, which I understand that it was the Prime Minister that called and said, release the man. I salute the Prime Minister for that. I definitely don't share the views of what, was said that, well, I want to shoot you in your foot and then I want to carry the doctor. I don't share that same views. I believe the Prime Minister did that is because he saw something was not right there, and he moved as a leader of the party and the country, and to do something about it because he saw some injustice. That's that's my word. That's not whatever you want to feel or take, or your take on that, that's yours. I respect that. I am saying, I salute the Prime Minister's action. If it was him that said, release the man, I says that was the right call. And that's the way it should have gone. And so thank you all for joining us this morning here, Rise and Shine and PlusTV. We want to thank our listeners and our viewers across this nation and in the diaspora. And of course, our technicians on duty, Mr. Lewis and Mr. Jones, for keeping us here on the station and bringing the good news of the gospel and how we could live and continue to build a strong and a good foundation, and to see these changes takes place. So from all of us here, Pastor Shah, I want to thank you also for heading up Wednesday morning, and we pray you have a good, God-blessed day today. We're out of here. See you next week. Good morning.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the